Hello and welcome to Handheld History, a video series where I delve into titles from a range of retro portable systems. As it's nearly Christmas, I'll be looking at Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, and why it doesn't really work, as well as how games based around the holiday are always going to struggle to be fun. Released in 2006 for the Game Boy Advance, it was developed by First Playable Productions, a company you've likely never heard of. Looking through its softography, I can't help but feel a little sorry for it though. Anyway, this title is based on the final chapter in the epic Santa Claus film trilogy, a series of movies that could be at the very best be described as moderately passable. To help those of you who haven't seen the cinematic masterpiece that is the third instalment, I'll sum up the plot for you though. I'm Tim Allen. I'm Martin Short and I don't like you, Tim Allen. Fight, 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 Judge Reinhold. Fight, 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 happy ending. This was considered to be viable material for a gaming tie-in. Not that that matters, the cutscenes make barely any sense and merely act as bookends for the action. Which brings me on to the game itself. It's a 2D platformer where you play as Santa, or more accurately, the Tim Allen version of Santa. You go around jumping on platforms, collecting cookies and milk, and avoiding rudimentary enemies such as snowballs. Snowballs. The fiercest of foes. I think I'll need a few snowballs to get through this, if you catch my meaning. In terms of moves, you have a jack-in-the-box you can use to attack your adversaries, a one-shot weapon that destroys walls, a double jump, and you can also push blocks around. It's all very much groundbreaking stuff. Now in terms of level layout, there are 4 sections to get through, each with 4 segments, with each one of these then having multiple parts. What I'm trying to say here is that there's a fair amount of content to get through, but it's much like being presented with a feast where all the bowls are filled with ready salted crisps. There are attempts to mix things up with parts where you drop presents from your sleigh onto the right houses, puzzle levels where you play as an elf, and parts where you're chased by a huge snowball, but they're clunkily designed and feel like they're there just to be there. The ideas never ignite because there's no creative spark to help them take off, and there's barely any challenge at all, a couple of frustrating boss sections aside. So for the most part I played the game in a state of lowered awareness, merely letting the bland level design wash over me. I was only slightly awakened from this slumber when I became the victim of an unfairly placed enemy or a dodgy bit of design. This is a title that's been made to a deadline to fulfill a licensing requirement though, and it plays like it. There's nary a drop of inspiration to be wrung from any of it, and you can almost feel the game begging for itself to be over from the start. Really, what else is there to say? I've only got a page and a half of script written here, but I've arguably already given this more of a review than it deserves. So to help lift the mood, let's look at Christmas games in general, or more accurately, which titles people think of when it comes to the holiday. The problem is, what first comes to your mind when you think of interactive entertainment and Yuletide probably isn't something featuring Santa Claus. Instead it might be playing Ocarina of Time all day and being shouted at for missing Christmas dinner, or having a fierce battle with drunken relatives in a game of Wii Sports bowling. I have strong memories of the December the 25th I spent being stunned by the visuals of X vs. Sever on the GBA for example, while the tree lights danced merrily on the system's over-reflective screen. It's not hugely surprising though. Many games that directly tap into the festive season are best forgotten. For every days before Christmas, there's multiple terrible cash-ins like Elf Bowling or the risible Santa Claus Saves the Earth. Trying to capture the joy of the season by simply making Santa the main character isn't just misguided, but it fails to take into account the fact that fun primarily comes from the design and mechanics of a game, not the trinkets you hang on the surface. True, existing titles which have had Christmas-inspired spin-offs, such as Nights into Dreams, James Pond, or Lemmings, have fared much better in terms of quality, but overall the best festive gaming experiences and memories are often the ones you helped to produce. So go out there and create some good ones. Merry Christmas. Hey, thanks for watching, and a huge thanks to anyone who supported this channel over the past year by watching, liking, sharing or subscribing. I'm not kidding when I say it's almost purely down to some of the very kind comments I've received that I've had the motivation to keep going. So thanks. I hope you have a great Christmas and a happy New Year, and I'll hope to see you again very soon.